Hello, you're welcome back once again to CD Matters. And I think so far we've tried, we've done our best to actually share with you some, solid information as regards stress, as regards financial management in these times. We just want to still resound the fact that we are proudly and ably, sponsored by Royal Basin Resort. As I said, Royal Basin Resort is based in Kumasi, a very fine resort, one of the finest in Kumasi. Anytime you visit Kumasi, the city of Kumasi, do your best and pass through Royal Basin. They have fine rooms, they have very fine food, meals. The environment is so serene, a place that you can rest and feel you are really at home. Don't forget to pass through Royal Basin. Also, we are being sponsored by Sankey's Restaurant. Sankey's Restaurant is based in Kumasi here, and they are located at Jubilee Mall, KNUST, on the first floor. Sankey's Restaurant has the best of meals, the best of drinks, every kind of finger foods that you're looking for. You can find it at Sankey's Restaurant. Do your best, pass through Sankey's Restaurant for that short break, for that lunch, for that corporate party. And I strongly believe they would actually meet you at that request. We are back, gentlemen. And I think the conversation has been exciting so far. I'm learning so much, and I strongly believe my audience are also learning. Before we left, I think we're looking at how to ward off stress, strategies that we can actually look at adapting so that as individuals, we can ward off stress. Doc has made us understand that stress is part of us. It's just that when it gets prolonged, that is where the wahala day. So we are looking at unnecessary stress that would, prolong, stress that would have detrimental effect on your life, on your health as an individual. Doc, before we left, Richmond made us understand we should focus on ourselves.
Yeah.
We should stop the keeping up of appearances. We should desist from following whatever we see on social media.
Very true.
Look, but this year, so social media, also need to grow. And if you want to be known, say you also day. That is where you need to show off small. And we are now being told it brings unnecessary stress on us. Doc, what do you have to say?
Well, I think that everything has its own advantages and disadvantages.
Okay.
Right. In as much as it's causing a lot of societal pressure on some people, I also think there are people who are promoting their business and then making money off social media.
Okay.
So it's all based on the content you follow.
Right.
It's based on the things that you see on social media.
Okay.
For me in particular, for my social media, before I follow you, I should have gone through your posts.
Okay.
And found out the content that you are providing. I have to find out whether there's relevance in what you are providing to me.
Okay.
Before I follow you, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, wherever it is.
Right.
And I this means as a result, it's just to make sure I don't get pressurized by what I see on
What you are
social
saying,
media.
okay.
So in as much as you want to project a brand on social media, just so people know you are there, I think reality actually comes in play.
Right.
How is your life with respect to
The reality itself.
Exactly.
Okay.
With respect to how are you really in line with your purpose? Are you really in line with your focus?
Okay.
Are you really achieving the goals you set for yourself?
So that, not to cut you, if I am to see any of these celebrities flaunting cash, flaunting, vehicles, assets, I shouldn't let that pressure me.
Well, yes, you shouldn't let it pressure you. You might also want to be a celebrity, and I feel social media too is a venue for which you can be a celebrity based on what you do.
Okay.
Right. So I feel that it shouldn't try as much as possible to deter you from getting to your goals, but you shouldn't be pressurized by what you see.
Okay.
On social
so
media.
That I can look at it. What you see is translated in what you think about.
Exactly, and what you believe.
What you believe.
Yes.
So that you should be intentional about what you are looking at and even following.
Exactly.
On social media.
Yeah.
Jeff, Richmond says we should focus on ourselves. We shouldn't live to please. Doc is also saying we should focus on ourselves. Be intentional about what we are looking at, what we are following. And again, look at it from the point that will it help you as the individual? we are looking at strategies where that will help us ward off stress. What can you talk about?
All right, so adding up to what they just said, one thing that I believe will help us to distress is to create a budget for the kind of lifestyle that we want for ourselves. We have to create a budget for ourselves.
We should create a budget. Sure. Into Ghana government in Kwan or create a budget. Okay.
So just like the examples that you gave, you see your friends in posh cars, like wearing nice shoes, shirts, and everything, and then you want to be like them, right, without even knowing the kind of budget that they are living with. So as an individual, you have to have your own budget. Know that, okay, this is the amount of money I earn at the end of every month, and this is how much I can spend on this or that. Right. And in creating our budget, you have to look at this from this angle. You have two kinds of budget that you have to focus on. The first one is the fixed budget. There are things that we can't do anything about them, like every month, or let's say within the year, you have to spend on them. Right. You have to spend on them. So let's say if you don't have your own house, you have to pay your rent. Sure. There's nothing you can do about that. You have to pay it. Right. And many other things that you have to do, like your basic things that you need, like the food thing we talk about. Sure. So you have to have that budget down. And then the variables, the ones that you can choose to do them or not to do them.
So they are more or less wants.
Yes.
Right.
So if you plan and you know that, okay, these are the ones that I can't do anything about. Like let's say, for instance, from where you go to work, it's far from your home. You have to make sure you bought, let's say, a vehicle from your house to that place. Right. It becomes a need. Because if you don't do that, you can't go to work. Sure. So in your budget, you factor that in. Right. So that it will be able to guide you to know that, okay, at the end of the month, this is how much I'm going to spend on transportation. Okay. This is how much I'm going to spend on when it comes to water bill, light bill, and all those kind of things. Right. Before you can think of, okay, so I just want to go out there and then party. I want to go and have fun. I just want to go and, observe nature and then distress. Right. So just like what Doc was saying, sometimes you have to go out from your normal, like your usual environment. Right. But those ones are not needs. Right. Do you understand? So you have to look at the ones that are needs. And you see, sometimes one thing that causes the stress is the kind of debts that we owe.
Debts. Okay. Oh, that's a Ghana credit card.
Don't go there.
Don't go there. you see, Doc was even talking about Ghana beyond aid towards. It is Ghana beyond aid. Ghana beyond, because now you can't aid this. I say you're broke, so Ghana beyond aid. You see, so the thing is, you have to also factor that in your budget. Okay. You know that, okay, you've borrowed this amount of money from this financial institution or from a friend or from a relative. You have to have a plan of paying that money so that it can give you that peace of mind.
You
see, we have a lot of people, when they borrow, they don't even think about when to pay until send the parents have a ban and say each other. I mean, that kind of. You see, when you ask them, but I mean, I'm why. So that is one way that we can also distress, and I think that we have to practice that as individuals to help us.
Okay. All right. So I was, as you guys were talking, I think the thought of, look, holidaying, partying, recreation. I thought it helps in de-stressing. But if you look at our kind of setting, the economic lifestyle, the economic environment we find ourselves in, the amount of money that comes into your pocket. Look, how can somebody manage these finances and still look at recreation? How can somebody still have a means of distressing from the normal conventional way of, work or lifestyle? Because to even board an aeroplane, to get a plane ticket, to fly to Dubai, South Africa, for just holiday, it don't be joke. It's not small money. Even let's look within. To even visit a hotel, it's no small money. How can we still look at de-stressing, relaxing, having holidays to help with, taking our minds off the pressures of everyday life?
Well, thank you, Daniel, for this question. Yeah. I think going on holidays, going on vacations, having something to do for recreation is beneficial to your mental health. But
Okay.
usually when it comes to things like this, I think what Jeff said was having a budget.
Have a budget.
So in as much as you have a source of employment and
Right.
it's fetching you an amount of money, you have to try to dedicate some amount to recreation.
Okay.
So it's something that you have to be intentional about.
Okay.
But what comes into play is what type of recreation can you afford?
Okay. Until you say you go
Exactly.
just.
You don't have to just go to Dubai just because
What's the
everyone
same
is going
for
to Dubai.
Dubai until now? Also
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, they are equally nice places. Where we find ourselves seated is an equally good place. I'm sure
That's
they
true.
have
Well,
affordable
basing
prices.
Yeah. You can
So-
even come and sit by the poolside.
Exactly. So
I
I mean,
cook back could be an HSA. Or they check your smoothness level.
I mean, recreation is very important. It's a way of recharging.
Okay.
But they are also equally, what do you call it, affordable places. If you're unable to afford the high places we all
High-end,
think
okay.
about
Okay.
or we all know.
Right.
And one thing I tell people to do is try to engage themselves in hobbies. Right?
Hobbies?
Exactly.
Richmond, what's your hobby?
Oh, football.
Jeff, what's your hobby? Do you know that conversation on hobby has disappeared
Yes,
from our
it's
conversation?
part of adulthood. The whole stress is not making you think about hobbies. When you have to go and make money, do you have time to think about hobbies?
Look, I found out kind of simple. So
But I mean, it's something that is very important. It's something you have to incorporate into our schedules.
wow.
I mean, for some people, they actually make sure their weekends are for chilling.
True.
When I say chilling, probably catching up with old friends, trying to deliberate about life, how life should
Breaking
go
of
out.
bottles, Kaho.
Well, I'll not like to go there, but I mean, it's something that happens socially, especially
Okay.
when people attend weddings and funerals.
Social gatherings, yeah.
But I like to think of the fact that they are getting to meet up with people rather than what they are consuming.
Okay.
But it's been found out to be beneficial to mental health
Okay.
and reduce stress in the long run.
Okay. Okay. That is meeting people.
Yes, meeting people, stepping out of your comfort zone.